In the city of Chicago, a life is lost to gun violence every 14 hours. Behind each statistic is a name, a face, a story. And on January 12, 2022, that name was Durka Patrick. As evening settled over the South Side, Durka sat in her SUV, waiting for her niece, who had stepped inside to grab a cake. In those fleeting moments of ordinary life, two figures emerged from the shadows, approaching her vehicle with deadly intent. The flash of gunfire illuminated the street as multiple bullets tore through the window, silencing forever the voice of a beloved stylist, daughter, and mother. How quickly can safety dissolve into danger? For Durka, it happened in seconds, sitting in her own car, on her own street, in a neighborhood she called home. When was the last time you sat alone in a parked car, scrolling through your phone, completely unaware of your surroundings? Welcome to Explosive True Crime Stories, where we go beyond the headlines to uncover the truth behind real-life tragedies. I'm Buseo, and on this channel, we don't just tell stories. We analyze what went wrong, identify warning signs, and equip you with knowledge that could one day save your life or the life of someone you love. Before we dive deeper into Durka's story, take a moment to consider. Have you ever felt unsafe in your own neighborhood? Have you noticed changes in your surroundings that made you uneasy? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your insight might help someone else recognize danger before it's too late. Durka Patrick, known professionally as DettyD, was a 29-year-old rising star in Chicago's beauty scene. A talented hairstylist with a growing clientele, she was beloved for both her artistic skills and her radiant personality. As the youngest daughter in a tight-knit family of 5 sisters and 1 brother, Durka was described by those who knew her as outgoing, sweet, and perpetually smiling. She was also a devoted mother to a 9-year-old daughter and, at the time of her death, 4 months pregnant with her second child, a baby she affectionately called her Baby J. On that fateful Wednesday evening in January 2022, in the Englewood neighborhood of Chicago's South Side, Durka's life was cut short in an attack that appears to have been calculated and deliberate. Security cameras captured the horrifying sequence. A car pulling alongside hers in the 7400 block of South Vincennes Avenue. 2 men emerging with weapons drawn, and multiple shots fired directly into her vehicle. Her 15-year-old niece, who had momentarily stepped away, returned to find her aunt slumped over the steering wheel. What makes this case particularly disturbing is not just the brazen nature of the attack, but the questions it raises about the killer's motives. Was Durka specifically targeted? If so, why would anyone want to harm a pregnant mother with no known enemies? The surveillance footage clearly shows the assailant's vehicle and their approach, yet months passed without arrests. As we examine this tragedy, we'll explore not only what happened to Durka, but the ripple effects of violence that continue to devastate families and communities long after the crime scene tape comes down. In Chicago's competitive beauty industry, Durka Patrick had carved out a reputation for excellence. Known professionally as DettyD, she transformed her passion for hairstyling into a thriving career that was gaining momentum. Her clients didn't just come for her technical skills, they came for the experience of sitting in her chair, where conversations flowed easily and laughter was guaranteed. Social media showcased her work. Elegant updos, vibrant colors, and precision cuts that demonstrated both creativity and mastery of her craft. Beyond her professional achievements, Durka was the heartbeat of her family. As the youngest of 5 sisters with 1 younger brother, she held a special place in the family dynamic. Her mother, Christine Blanton, described their relationship as inseparable. "She was my baby," Christine would later tell reporters through tears. The Patrick family was known for their closeness. Holidays were boisterous affairs, weekend gatherings were routine, and daily check-ins were the norm. In a neighborhood where community ties run deep, the Patricks were respected and well-liked, with Durka often serving as the family's vibrant ambassador. At 29, Durka had embraced motherhood with the same enthusiasm she brought to everything else. Her 9-year-old daughter was the center of her world. School projects adorned Durka's refrigerator. Dance recitals were never missed, and mother-daughter selfies filled her Instagram feed. When Durka discovered she was pregnant with her second child in late 2021, her joy was palpable. For months along at the time of her death, she had already begun preparing for the new addition, whom she affectionately called Baby J. Friends noted how she would rest her hand on her growing belly while talking, a subconscious gesture of protection and love for the child she would never meet. Her excitement about expanding her family added another dimension to her already full life, making the tragedy that followed all the more devastating. The day before Durka's life was cut short unfolded, like countless others, in her busy schedule. Tuesday, January 11th, 2022, began with her usual morning routine, preparing her daughter for school, checking appointments, and responding to clients. According to her sister Dorothy, Durka had spent the morning at her home salon, finishing a client's protective style before heading to the south side for errands. Security footage from a local beauty supply store captured her selecting products, chatting animatedly with the cashier, who had known her for years. Durka's digital footprint from her final 24 hours reveals a woman fully engaged with life and making plans for the future. Her last Instagram post, shared at 2:17 in the afternoon on January 11th, featured a completed hairstyle with the caption, "New year, new looks for my queens. Booking February appointments now." She exchanged texts with family members throughout the day, confirming details for her cousin Devonta Anderson's birthday celebration planned for the following evening. "Can't wait to celebrate you tomorrow. Making your favorite cake right now," she messaged him. In a heartbreaking twist of fate, she was on her way to this very celebration when she was killed. That evening, Durka spent time with her daughter, helping with homework and watching their favorite TV show. Her mother later recalled speaking with her around 9 that night, discussing plans for an upcoming baby shower. "She was so happy," Christine remembered. "We talked about colors and themes for the party. She wanted everything perfect for Baby J." Before ending the call, they made plans to meet for lunch the next day, a lunch that would never happen. As Durka went to sleep that Tuesday night, there was no indication that the next day would be her last, no warning that a routine trip to deliver a birthday cake would end in tragedy. Wednesday, January 12th, 2022 began as an ordinary winter day in Chicago. The temperature hovered around 30 degrees, with light snow flurries dusting the south side streets. For Durka Patrick, it was a day filled with routine activities and preparations for her cousin's birthday celebration later that evening.
Some say something, turn yourself in. You took a beautiful young lady out this world. You took her from her family.
A plea for justice today from the family of a pregnant woman who was shot and killed this week in Chicago. There is now a $15,000 reward for information about Durka Patrick's murder.
Stephanie Wade live right now with that plea from her family. Stephanie?
Good evening. It was a massive turnout today. The community coming together and releasing balloons in honor of 29-year-old Durka Patrick, who was shot and killed Wednesday evening on Chicago's South Side, just sitting in her car outside of her home.
It hurts so bad. I want my baby.
A tearful plea tonight from Durka Patrick's mother to find who killed her daughter.
You took a beautiful young lady out this world. You took her from her family. I can't get my baby back. I want my baby. Y'all took my baby from me. God gave it to me for 29 years. And you just ended my baby's life like that. That's not right.
A vibrant young woman her godmother describes and beloved hairstylist on Chicago's South Side, Patrick was 4 months pregnant with her second child when police say two gunmen got out of their car Wednesday evening and opened fire in the 7400 block of South Vincennes Avenue.
Her mother is hurting that she can't speak.
According to her mother, Durka spent the morning with her daughter before school, then headed to her home
baby.
salon,
She has a
where she had
9-year-old
3
daughter.
client appointments scheduled.
Community activist
By
Walker
mid-afternoon,
joining
Durka had
Patrick's
completed her
family
work
today in
and
their
shifted
combined
focus
quest
to family
to
matters.
find who killed
Phone
the pregnant
records
mom.
show she called her cousin
Walker
Devonta
helping pay
around
for
3:15
Patrick's
p.m.
funeral
to
expenses.
confirm details
His mom
about his
deserves
birthday
answers.
gathering.
His family
She was
deserves
excited
answers.
about
His
bringing the
community
cake.
deserves answers.
Devonta would later tell
Literally
reporters she had made it herself the night
A
before.
mom, a daughter.
After the call,
Away.
Durka picked up her daughter from school
Now,
and
there
dropped
is
her
still
off at
no
her
one
grandmother's
in
house,
custody tonight for
where the
Patrick's
child would
murder. If you
stay
have
while
any
Durka
information, you're
attended
asked
the
to call
celebration.
police. You can,
Around
of course,
6:30
remain
p.m.,
anonymous, and there is a
Durka drove to her
$15,000
15-year-old niece's
reward
home
for any
to pick her up.
information that can lead
The
to
two
an
had
arrest.
planned to attend Devonta's birthday party together, with Durka's niece helping to carry the homemade cake. Security cameras from a neighboring building captured Durka's black SUV turning onto South Vincennes Avenue at 6:47 p.m. She parked directly in front of her niece's residence in the 7400 block, keeping the engine running as temperatures continued to drop outside. At approximately 6:55 p.m., Durka's niece exited the vehicle and ran inside the house to retrieve the birthday cake they had stored there earlier. According to the niece's later statement to police, Durka remained in the driver's seat, likely checking her phone while waiting. The interior light of her SUV was visible from the street, illuminating her silhouette through the windows. The niece reported spending approximately 3 minutes inside, gathering the cake and a gift bag for the celebration. What happened in those 3 minutes would forever alter the lives of everyone who loved Durka Patrick. As her niece carefully balanced the cake box inside the house, preparing to return to the waiting SUV, the sound of multiple gunshots shattered the early evening quiet. Neighbors would later report hearing between 5 and 7 distinct shots in rapid succession, followed by the screech of tires as a vehicle sped away. The time was exactly 7 p.m. when ShotSpotter technology alerted Chicago police to gunfire in the area, setting in motion the emergency response to a crime that had unfolded in less than 90 seconds. Surveillance footage from a residence across the street captured the brutal efficiency of Durka's killers. At 6:58 p.m., just moments after her niece entered the house, a dark sedan with tinted windows slowly approached Durka's parked SUV. The vehicle, later identified by police as possibly a black Chevrolet Impala, pulled alongside her driver's side window and stopped. There was no hesitation in what followed, suggesting this was not a random act, but a calculated attack. 2 men exited the sedan, both wearing dark clothing and masks that obscured their faces. The driver emerged first, followed immediately by the passenger. Both brandished handguns as they approached Durka's vehicle. According to Chief of Detectives Brendan Denan, who later briefed reporters on the case, the video shows the offenders exit their vehicle and immediately begin firing into the victim's car. The shooters never attempted to speak with Durka or demand anything from her. They simply opened fire through her driver's side window. The surveillance footage shows the horrifying sequence lasting only 12 seconds. Multiple muzzle flashes are visible as both men fired repeatedly into the SUV. Durka appears to have had no time to react or attempt to escape. After the shooting, both men quickly returned to their vehicle and fled northbound on Vincennes Avenue, disappearing from the camera's view. The entire attack, from arrival to departure, took less than 30 seconds. Inside the house, Durka's niece heard the gunshots and dropped the cake, rushing outside to find her aunt slumped over the steering wheel. Her screams alerted neighbors, who called 911 at 7:01 p.m. First responders arrived within 4 minutes, finding Durka unresponsive with multiple gunshot wounds to her upper body. Paramedics immediately began life-saving measures at the scene before rushing her to the University of Chicago Medical Center. Despite the medical team's efforts, Durka Patrick was pronounced dead at 7:45 p.m. The Cook County Medical Examiner's report would later confirm she suffered 5 gunshot wounds, 3 to the chest, 1 to the neck, and 1 to the left arm. The report also noted her pregnancy, confirming that her unborn child, estimated to be 17 weeks along, did not survive. In a single violent moment, 2 lives were extinguished, leaving a family to grapple with an incomprehensible loss and investigators to hunt for killers who seemed to vanish into the Chicago night. Chicago's ShotSpotter system, an acoustic surveillance technology that detects and locates gunfire, alerted police to the shooting at exactly 7 p.m. on January 12th. Within minutes, patrol units from the 6th District converged on the 7,400 block of South Vincennes Avenue, securing a crime scene that would yield both promising leads and frustrating dead ends. Officers found Durka's black SUV with the engine still running, multiple bullet holes through the driver's side window, and shell casings scattered across the street. The initial evidence collection was meticulous. Technicians recovered 7 9mm shell casings, suggesting the shooters emptied their weapons during the attack. Blood spatter analysis indicated Durka had been hit almost immediately, with no signs of defensive wounds or attempts to shield herself, confirming the sudden nature of the assault. The investigation gained momentum when detectives discovered a crucial piece of evidence: clear surveillance footage from a home security system across the street. The video quality was unusually good for a residential camera, noted Detective James Harrington, the lead investigator assigned to the case. The footage captured the entire sequence: the suspect's vehicle approaching, both shooters exiting, the muzzle flashes as they fired, and their escape route as they fled northbound. Additional cameras from businesses along Vincennes Avenue tracked the vehicle for several blocks before it turned west and disappeared from view. By midnight, the Chicago Police Department had assembled a task force dedicated to Durka's case. The surveillance footage was immediately processed through the department's video enhancement unit, yielding clear images of the vehicle: a black Chevrolet Impala with distinctive aftermarket rims and a damaged rear bumper. Though the shooters' faces were obscured by masks, their builds, heights, and clothing provided valuable identifying characteristics. What investigators lacked, however, were witnesses willing to speak on record about what they had seen. At this point in our investigation, I have to ask, what would you do if you witnessed a crime like this in your neighborhood? Would fear keep you silent, or would you find a way to speak up? The code of silence that often follows violent crimes doesn't just protect killers. It ensures they remain free to strike again.
Moment that we're going to let you get away with this. We are going to pursue you and bring you to justice.
Superintendent David Brown once again vowing to crack down on crime as 2 14-year-old boys and a pregnant woman become the latest victims of deadly gun violence in Chicago. Search is on for 2 men who shot and killed a pregnant woman sitting inside of a parked car on the south side.
Police say they have video of that attack, and WGN's Patrick Elwood live on the south side with more details tonight. Patrick.
Good evening to you both. Police are not releasing that video at this time. More on that in a moment. But a 29-year-old woman is dead. She was pregnant at the time. This happened about 7 o'clock last night. There is a $15,000 reward being offered in connection to this case. But at this point, police don't even know the motive. Durka Patrick was shot dead as she sat in a parked car at 74th and Vincennes. The 29-year-old hairstylist was a fun-loving person who always had a smile on her face, according to her mother, Christine Blanton, who tells the Tribune. Shot spotter technology alerted police to gunshots in that area, and they say video footage shows 2 men approaching her car.
Looking back through some video, we observe a vehicle pull up. 2 males exit the car, walk up to the victim's vehicle, draw handguns, and fire into the vehicle, striking her. Patrick was the mother of a 9-year-old girl and was pregnant at the time of her death. Police are asking for help from the community, but they are not releasing that video at this time. We need them identified. We haven't pushed out any videos yet of those suspects, but we definitely need some help from the community.
So again, no video being released by police tonight, but that may change tomorrow. Anonymous tips, they say, are always welcome. Reporting from 78th and Halsted at the police station here, Patrick Elwood, WGN News. Micah and Ray, back to you in the studio.
All right, Pat, thanks.
If you've ever lived in an area where violence is common, share your perspective in the comments below. How can we balance personal safety with community responsibility? Your insights might help others understand this complex issue. And if you're finding value in this analysis, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more in-depth examinations of cases that matter. Despite having clear surveillance footage and physical evidence, Chicago police faced significant obstacles in their pursuit of Durka's killers. The most immediate challenge was the wall of silence that confronted detectives canvassing the neighborhood. Though the shooting occurred on a residential street at 7 p.m., a time when many people were arriving home from work. Not a single witness initially came forward. Door-to-door inquiries yielded the same response. I didn't see anything, or I was inside when it happened. This reluctance to cooperate wasn't surprising to veteran Chicago investigators. The Englewood neighborhood, where the shooting occurred, has historically experienced strained relations with law enforcement. There's a deep-rooted fear of retaliation, explained community activist Early Walker, who became involved in the case. People worry that if they speak to police, they might be next. This fear isn't unfounded. Chicago has seen numerous cases where witnesses were threatened or harmed after providing information to authorities. Beyond fear, there's also a profound distrust of the criminal justice system in many Chicago communities. Residents point to cases that remain unsolved, promises of protection that weren't kept, and a perception that crimes against black victims receive less attention and resources. When people don't believe the system works for them, they're less likely to participate in it. Noted Carlos Tate of the Target Area Development Corporation, a community organization working to reduce violence in the area. Recognizing these challenges, police and Durka's family took extraordinary measures to break through the silence. The Chicago Police Department announced a $15,000 reward for information leading to an arrest, significantly higher than the standard amount offered in homicide cases. Durka's mother made emotional public pleas, speaking directly to potential witnesses. If you know something, say something. My daughter deserves justice. Her children deserve justice. Community leaders organized a neighborhood canvass, going door to door not as police officers, but as concerned citizens. They distributed flyers with reward information and anonymous tip line numbers. Religious leaders addressed the issue during services, emphasizing the moral obligation to speak truth. Despite these efforts, weeks passed with no credible leads, highlighting how deeply entrenched the barriers to justice had become in communities accustomed to violence without resolution. The news of Durka's murder shattered her family's world with a force that left them struggling to breathe, much less comprehend. Her mother, Christine Blanton, collapsed upon hearing that her youngest daughter had been killed. In the days that followed, Christine's raw grief manifested in heart-wrenching public statements that captured the depth of her loss. You took a beautiful young lady out of this world. You took her from her family, she said during a press conference, her voice breaking. I can't have my baby anymore. I want my baby. God gave her to me for 29 years, and you just took my baby's life like that. Durka's siblings described a family unit fractured beyond recognition. I'll never be okay. They took my sister, Durka Patrick told reporters, tears streaming down her face. As the youngest of 5 sisters, Durka had been the family's light, the one who organized gatherings, remembered birthdays, and mediated conflicts. Her brother, the youngest sibling, withdrew almost completely after her death, unable to process the violence that had stolen his sister. The siblings described themselves as inseparable before the tragedy, now united by grief so profound it threatened to consume them. Perhaps most devastating was the impact on Durka's 9-year-old daughter, who overnight lost not only her mother, but also the sibling she had been excitedly preparing to welcome. Family members described how the child initially refused to believe her mother wasn't coming home, waiting by the window for days. She keeps asking when Mommy is coming back, Dorothy explained, her voice barely audible. How do you tell a child her mother was murdered? How do you explain that the baby brother she wanted so badly is gone too? The family rallied around the child, with Durka's mother and sisters taking joint custody, determined to provide stability amid unimaginable chaos. They established a therapy routine for the girl and created a memory box with photos and keepsakes of Durka, a tangible connection to the mother whose absence left an unfillable void in her young life. The Englewood community's response to Durka's murder reflected both the neighborhood's weariness with violence and its determination to honor one of its own. 3 days after the shooting, more than 200 residents gathered at the site of her death for a balloon release memorial. Pink and white balloons, the colors Durka had chosen for her baby shower, filled the winter sky as family, friends, and even clients from her salon shared memories of a woman whose warmth had touched countless lives. Local activists quickly mobilized, recognizing that Durka's case represented a particularly heartbreaking example of the gun violence plaguing Chicago's South Side. Early Walker, founder of the anti-violence initiative I'm Telling, Don't Shoot, stepped forward to support the family both emotionally and practically. This case hit differently because she was pregnant, because her child witnessed the aftermath, because it was so clearly targeted. Walker explained. His organization printed thousands of flyers with information about the reward for information, organizing volunteers to distribute them throughout Englewood and neighboring communities. The financial burden of sudden funeral expenses added another layer of stress to the family's grief. Recognizing this, community members launched a GoFundMe campaign that raised over $20,000 in just 5 days. Local business owners contributed as well. The owner of a beauty supply store where Durka frequently shopped covered the cost of the casket, while a neighborhood restaurant provided food for the repast following her funeral. The funeral itself became a community statement against violence, with hundreds attending despite limited space in the church. "This is how we fight back," said Pastor Donovan Price during the service. "We show up for each other. We remember. We demand better." Outside the church, a line of stylists and beauty professionals, Durka's colleagues in the industry, formed an honor guard, each holding a mirror and comb, a tribute to the career she had built and the lives she had touched through her art and compassion. Durka Patrick's murder, while devastating in its specifics, fits within a troubling pattern of violence in Chicago's Englewood neighborhood. In the year 2021, the area recorded 63 homicides, placing it among the city's most dangerous districts. What makes Durka's case stand out is the apparent targeted nature of the attack, the shooters never attempting robbery or making demands.
An emotional plea for peace and information from the family of Durka Patrick, a pregnant woman gunned down this week in Englewood.
Please, if somebody saw something, say something, turn yourself in. You took a beautiful young lady out this world. You took her from her family. I can't get my baby back. Oh, my baby.
The cause and effect is more so of a domino effect. When you do something like this, it doesn't just take out that person.
Friends and family released balloons this morning where Durka was killed. They called for anyone who saw something to get in touch with police to help in this cycle of violence. The 29-year-old was sitting in a car Wednesday night near 74th and Vincennes. Chicago police say surveillance video shows a car pulling up, then two men getting out and firing several shots. So far, no one has been arrested.
I'll never be okay. They took my sister from me.
Durka Patrick's family is inseparable. The youngest of 5 girls with just one little brother, the 5 living siblings are realizing somehow they're going to have to live without Durka.
I just want my sister back.
Wednesday night, the 29-year-old mother, 4 months pregnant with her second child, was in her car in front of her house at 74th and Vincennes on the city's south side. Her cousin Devontae says she was supposed to be headed to his birthday celebration.
She was all the way to me, but she never made it.
Police say 2 offenders walked up and at least one of them fired several shots into the car. Outside the University of Chicago Medical Center, Patrick's family crowded around the emergency room, only to learn the young pregnant mother didn't survive.
My heart is shattered in a million pieces.
Her siblings say Durka Patrick couldn't wait to be a mom to 2 children.
She was happy because her daughter, Nan, so she wanted a boy. And she said her baby was her baby Jay.
Now they'll all take her 9-year-old daughter in as their own.
Investigators have explored several potential motives. The precision and boldness of the attack suggest it wasn't random, yet Durka had no known enemies or involvement in high-risk activities. One theory examines whether she was mistakenly targeted in a case of mistaken identity, as her vehicle resembled one belonging to a known gang associate in the area. Another possibility involves personal disputes unknown to her family, perhaps related to a relationship or business interaction that turned hostile. The risk factors present in Englewood create a perfect storm for violence. Economic disinvestment has left the area with a 35% poverty rate and limited economic opportunities. Housing instability, with nearly 40% of residents facing housing insecurity, contributes to neighborhood transience and weaken community bonds. Additionally, the area has one of the highest concentrations of parolees returning from prison in Chicago, often without adequate support systems for reintegration. Most telling is the cycle of retaliatory violence that plagues the neighborhood. Analysis of shooting patterns in Englewood reveals that up to 60% of homicides may be connected to previous incidents, creating chains of violence that can span months or even years. This raises the disturbing possibility that Durka's murder might have been connected to conflicts she wasn't even aware of, perhaps targeting her because of a family member or associate. Durka's tragic death offers critical safety lessons, particularly regarding vulnerability while in parked vehicles. Security experts recommend maintaining awareness even in familiar surroundings, keeping doors locked, windows up, and avoiding extended periods sitting stationary, especially after dark. When possible, park in well-lit areas with clear sight lines in multiple directions, making it harder for someone to approach unnoticed. The moments of transition, entering or exiting vehicles, represent particular vulnerability. Developing the habit of scanning surroundings before getting in or out of a car can provide crucial seconds of warning. Having keys ready, limiting distractions like phone use, and being prepared to drive away quickly if threatened are simple practices that can significantly reduce risk. For communities struggling with violence, strengthening reporting mechanisms is essential. Anonymous tip lines that bypass direct police contact can help overcome the fear of retaliation. Community-based violence interrupters, often former gang members with credibility in the neighborhood, have proven effective in mediating conflicts before they escalate to violence. These individuals can serve as bridges between residents and authorities when direct cooperation feels too dangerous. Support systems for at-risk communities must address both immediate safety and underlying factors driving violence. Trauma-informed mental health services, economic opportunity programs, and youth mentorship initiatives create protective factors that reduce vulnerability. For families like Durka's, victim advocacy services providing both emotional support and practical assistance with funeral costs, childcare, and navigating the justice system are crucial in the aftermath of tragedy. By strengthening these community resources, we create environments where violence becomes less likely and recovery more possible when it does occur. As of today, Durka Patrick's murder remains unsolved. Chicago police continue to investigate, with the case now transferred to the department's cold case unit, though detectives insist it remains active. The $15,000 reward for information still stands, with an additional $5,000 added by community organizations in 2023. The Justice for Durka campaign, led by her family and supported by anti-violence activists, holds monthly awareness events at the site of her murder. They've expanded their mission beyond seeking her killers to advocating for broader policy changes addressing gun violence in Chicago's most affected neighborhoods. Remember that personal safety often depends on awareness and preparation. Create habits that reduce vulnerability. Lock your car immediately upon entering. Avoid sitting in parked vehicles for extended periods, and maintain awareness of your surroundings even in familiar locations. If you witness a crime, consider anonymous reporting options like Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS, which allows you to share information without revealing your identity. For those in high-risk communities, organizations like Chicago's CRED, Creating Real Economic Destiny, offer conflict mediation and support services. Remember that safety isn't just individual. It requires community vigilance and mutual protection. If Durka's story has impacted you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Explosive True Crime Stories for more in-depth analysis of cases that deserve attention. Share this video to spread awareness about Durka's unsolved murder. Your share might reach someone with information that could break the case. Next week, we'll examine how digital evidence is revolutionizing cold case investigations across America. What cases would you like to see covered on this channel? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. Until next time, stay aware, stay safe, and remember that justice begins with each of us refusing to look away.